Have you ever watched someone get the promotion, get the room, get the client, and you're sitting there thinking, I've been here longer, I work harder, I know more. What is happening? I've called this politics, I've called this luck. Sometimes I've said it's not what you know, it's who you know. But John really opened my eyes in this chapter of Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, where he says if the answer is not talent, the answer is not competence, the answer is not skill, the answer is energy. Intentional, deliberate, relational energy. And that's the game changer. Great communicators are intentional in how they spend their energy. Here's the central idea of the chapter. Connection is a fire, not a spark. A spark can happen by accident. You meet someone at the conference, you meet someone in a party, and that's the spark. But in order for that connection to thrive, you need to keep adding fuel to it. You need to tend to it. You need to attend to it. If you don't, there's no use of the spark because the fire dies down. And that's why this chapter is aptly titled Connection Requires Energy. Think of the best communicators you know of. Are they low energy people? The answer is most likely no. When I am talking about low energy, I'm not talking about introverts or extroverts. They could be an introvert, they could be an extrovert, but the fact that they are connectors tells me that they are not low energy people. They take that initiative. You could be an introvert, you could have the best smile, you could be intentional in your conversation with people, and that takes energy. And that's the kind of energy we are talking about. Intentional, deliberate energy. Every year I attend the International Maxwell Conference. As you know, I'm a Maxwell certified leadership coach, so I make it a point to attend one every year in order for me to be in close proximity with people who are learning and growing. There are times when I would occasionally sign up to volunteer early in the morning. And in and around the conference, I would see John sitting there and signing books or taking pictures. And I've often wondered, did he really have to do it? He is in his late 70s. He probably doesn't have the energy that a 40-year-old or a 20-year-old has, but he makes time for that. Interestingly enough, I had a book and I wanted John to sign the book, and there was this huge lineup. And when my turn came, I was so excited and started sharing how he has impacted my life and how his books has been great fuel in my own growth journey. He gave his undivided attention. He listened. He made eye contact. He even said something related to what I was sharing. And then he looked at someone who was around and said, would you mind taking a picture of us? And we got a picture together. He doesn't have to do that. And honestly, when I walked out of the room, I felt a great connection with him. He probably gave 60 seconds of his time, but it didn't feel transactional. He truly connected. If you think about it, you really cannot give quality time with everyone, but he knew that 1 minute he made it so special for me. So connection requires energy, and that means it requires intentionality. How you show up, how intentional you are in the conversation that you are in that way the other person feels seen, heard, and loved. The book gives us 5 proactive ways to channel this energy. Number 1, initiative. You go first. The way I see it is people are candles. They have the potential. When a spark is lit on the candle, they start to glow. They start to bring light. They start to bring hope. But then they need the spark, and you need to be the spark. You need to be willing to go and take the initiative. In that way, you get the conversation going. Sometimes in our relationships, we hesitate and wait longer, and we don't go first. We're waiting for them to send a text. We are waiting for someone else to take the initiative to invite us for coffee. But I'm going to challenge you. You go first. You take the initiative. You take the high road, and you'd be surprised to see how your relationships are transformed because you went first. Communicators are sparks. They go first and they get the fire started, and that's initiative. Number 2, clarity. Clarity comes from preparation. Early in my Toastmasters journey, I used to wing it. I would show up, have a rough idea of what my speech is about, and I would tell myself that I work well under pressure. And I would say that spontaneity is something I absolutely enjoy. And one day, my husband called it out. Honestly, it stung a little bit, but then I took his feedback. Now I don't show up for any event without proper preparation. I have a lunch and learn that I run every week, and you wouldn't believe the amount of preparation that goes in for that lunch and learn. Why? Because I understand the power of maniacal preparation. What preparation does is it raises your own bar. You're no longer in this level. The more you prepare over time, you're suddenly raising your level and you're standing taller because of that. And the more you start from here, you would keep upping your level. If you don't prepare, what happens is you are stagnant. You remain in the same level. You may be giving 10 more speeches, but your level has not improved over time because you're constantly winging it. So preparation is the key for clarity. The book talks about 3 layers of preparation. The number 1 layer is knowing yourself. This is the hardest part because it's easy to lead others, but it's really, really difficult to lead ourselves. But when you take time to understanding yourself and leading yourself well, then you truly can give to others. The number 2 layer is knowing your audience. Who are your audience? Is it your team? Are you giving a presentation to the executives? Are you giving a presentation to your shareholders? What is that? Who is your team or who is your audience? And then when you ask that question, your content and other things will line up based on the audience you're trying to serve. Who are they? What do they care about? What do they lose sleep over? When you ask these questions, you get clarity, and because of that, you could serve them better. The third layer is knowing your stuff. Content is important, but you need to build yourself, you need to understand your audience, and then you curate the content. Your delivery would have a greater reach. So preparation is the key for clarity. Number 3, patience. This is a hard one for me, and John says that early in his career, he really struggled with it. He kept going faster, and then there was not many people with him because he was going faster. So you need to really slow down. When I was thinking of this, I saw this as a tandem bike. If you are biking alone, you're going to go in your own pace, in your own speed. But if you're on a tandem bike with others, your pace is impacted by other people in the tandem bike. So if you think about it, if you're bringing more people up, that means your pace is going to be impacted. And so you can go faster if you want to go alone, but if you want to bring more people, the cost of it is you're going to slow down. It takes a lot of patience, and that's a skill a good connector needs. Number 4, selflessness. John makes this distinction between givers and takers. A giver communicates from love. A taker communicates from need. A giver gives out of abundance. They are giving, they're not expecting anything in return. A taker communicates out of need, and they are constantly waiting for approval. They're waiting for praise, and they're giving, but they are expecting something in return. If I asked you who in your circle is a giver and who in your circle is a taker, I'm sure you could come up with their name right away. Because one of the things about takers, they drain your energy. You feel exhausted being around them. The thing about givers, they fill your tank. You feel energized being around them. Whenever I go for a run, sometimes I would bump into a bunny. And interestingly enough, I would be exhausted, but my legs are tired. But when I spot the bunny, I would have a smile on my face and I would truly feel energized just for a second or two. Sometimes I would spot a skunk. My entire body language is different. I no longer run on that side of the road. I'm very cautious. I'm walking in such a way that I don't alarm the skunk, and I'm trying to avoid it. And that's how a giver and a taker is. A giver, people are happy to see them. You are happy that you bumped into them. Whereas a taker, if you spot them coming towards you, you're thinking of where's the nearest exit? How could I escape? Because they spray on you and you feel exhausted because of what they do to you. And so I would encourage you to ask yourself, are you a giver or a taker? How do you show up in your own relationships? Do you show up with energy? Number 5, stamina. How do you recharge yourself? The people who are best connectors are not endlessly energetic, they are intentional in how they recharge themselves. So they know what drains them, what fuels them, they guard their energy well. If something is draining them, they delegate it or they find ways to get rid of it, and they focus on things that bring them energy, because if they don't recharge themselves, they cannot be best connectors. So here's what this chapter is asking you to do. It is not asking you to become a different person. It's not asking you to be loud. It's not asking you to have high energy in some performative way. It's not asking you to be an extrovert. It is asking you to be intentional with your energy and serve the people well. In the past, you probably were waiting for someone to take the initiative in the relationship. Now, after reading this chapter, you're someone who's going to go first. You're someone who is going to take the initiative, ask them for a coffee date, and you're going to be a spark in that connection. In the past, you may be someone who winged it, who didn't prepare intentionally, but now you are thinking about preparation. Even in a simple one-on-one meeting, think about what state are they in? How could you serve them better? Think about what questions you could ask so you could be intentional with them. And in the past, you probably went faster, you didn't care about whether other people are coming along with you. Now you're purposeful in your pace. You are patient, you're slowing down so you can bring more people with you. In the past, you may be a taker, but now you're going to show up as a giver. You're going to add energy to the situation. You're not going to sap energy out. In the past, you could have been unintentional with your energy. Now you're going to be intentional with how you show up so that you give the right energy for the right things. I hope this chapter stirred you in a meaningful way, and I hope you understand the importance of energy, because connecting requires energy. It requires intentional, deliberate energy. But if you're not willing to do that, your connection becomes shallow. I hope you found this lesson helpful. Next week, we will be looking at chapter 5. Connecting is more skill than natural talent. I hope to see you there.